Okay. Go back to that pasuk. Where are we? Vayomer shalcheni na ki zebach mishpacha lanu be'ir vehu tziva li achi ve'ata im matzati chen be'einecha imarta na be'eret echai al kein lova el shulchan hamelech.
He said, "Please let me go, for we are going to have a family feast in our town, and my brother has summoned me to it. Do me a favor, let me slip away to see my kinsman. That is why he has not come to the king's table."
One of the commentaries pointed out how Jonathan added in the bit about the brother, is giving it more weight, apparently, because if his older brother commanded him to go, and the brothers were also in part of the court, more reason why he would have to obey and to go to the family sacrifice. Vayichar av Shaul bihonatan vayomer lo bena'avat hamardut halo yadati ki vocher ata leben Yishai levoshtecha ulevoshet ervat imecha.
Saul flew into a rage against Jonathan. "You son of a perverse, rebellious woman," he shouted. "I know that you side with the son of Jesse, to your shame and to the shame of your mother's nakedness."
Ki chol hayamim asher ben Yishai chai al ha'adama lo tikon ata umalchutecha ve'ata shelach vekach oto elai ki ben mavet hu.
"For as long as the son of Jesse lives on earth, neither you nor your kingship will be secure. Now then, have him brought to me, for he is marked for death."
Vayan Yonatan et Shaul aviv vayomer elav lama yumat me'asa.
But Jonathan spoke up and said to his father, "Why should he be put to death? What has he done?"
Vayatel Shaul et hachanit alav lehakoto vayeda Yehonatan ki chala hi me'im aviv lehamit et David.
At that, Saul threw his spear at him to strike him down, and Jonathan realized that his father was determined to do away with David.
Vayakom Yehonatan me'im hashulchan v'choriaf v'lo achal v'yom hachodesh hasheni lechem ki netzav el David ki hichlimo aviv.
Jonathan rose from the table in a rage. He ate no food on the second day of the new moon because he was grieved about David and because his father had humiliated him.
Vahi v'boker vayetze Yehonatan hasadeh lemoed David v'na'ar katon imo.
In the morning, Jonathan went out into the open for the meeting with David, accompanied by a young boy.
Vayomer na'aro rutz mitzana et hachitzim asher anochi more hana ratz uyara hachetzi lehaviro.
He said to the boy, "Run ahead and find the arrows that I shoot." And as the boy ran, he shot the arrows past him.
Vayavo hanar ad makom hachetzi asher yara Yehonatan. Vayikra Yehonatan acharei hanar vayomer halo hachetzi mimcha v'hala.
When the boy came to the place where the arrows shot by Jonathan had fallen, Jonathan called out to the boy, "Hey, the arrows are beyond you."
Vayikra Yehonatan acharei hanar mehera chusha al ta'amod vaylaket na'ar Yehonatan hachitzim vayavo el Adonav.
And Jonathan called after the boy, "Quick, hurry up, don't stop." So Jonathan's boy gathered the arrows and came back to his master.
So that was meant for David, wasn't it? This quick hurry up.
Yeah, that was this code of communication. Yeah.
והנער לא ידע מאומה, אך יהונתן ודוד ידעו את הדבר.
The boy suspected nothing. Only Jonathan and David knew the arrangement.
ויתן יהונתן את כליו אל הנער אשר לו, ויאמר לו, לך הווי העיר.
Jonathan handed the gear to his boy and told him, take these back to the town.
הנער בא ודוד קם מאצל הנגב, ויפול לאפיו ארצה, וישתחו 3 פעמים, וישקו איש את רעהו, ויבכו איש את רעהו עד דוד הגדיל.
When the boy got there, David emerged from his concealment at the Negev. He flung himself face down on the ground and bowed low 3 times. They kissed each other and wept together. David wept the longer.
Yeah, Rashi says that it's not really the Negev in terms of the region, but just the south. The stone was towards the south, which seems to make more sense.
Interesting. With regard to David Hegdil, it is again elevating David in a crying thing as having more impact on. It's almost, I would suggest that Jonathan should have cried more.
Yes.
As we know the character until now. And the narrator sort of reversing that and elevating David.
Unless you might say, David knew what he was going to go in the future, so he was sort of regretting what he was going to have to do. So
he flung himself face down on the ground and bowed down to Jonathan. So that's showing that he is sort of subordinate to Jonathan in that position, whereas everywhere else he's elevated.
But I mean, he could be just very grateful for what he's done. Yeah.
He's sort of saved his life then, I suppose.
Yeah.
ויאמר יהונתן לדוד, לך לשלום, אשר נשבענו שנינו, אנחנו בשם אדוני לאמור, אדוני יהיה ביני וביניך, ובין זרעי ובין זרעך עד עולם.
Jonathan said to David, go in peace, for we two have sworn to each other in the name of the Lord. May the Lord be witness between you and me, and between your offspring and mine forever.
Was that awful thing that Saul told Jonathan, you hateful son of a perverse mother? Is that the origin of what Americans say to people?
Right. Well,
sounds like it.
Yeah.
Interesting that Jonathan doesn't trust David, and he pulled into the contract God himself. He said, I'm not sure what story with you, but I want to tell you, God is a witness here between you and me, and that we will have the connection between the 2 families until forever. Just remember that God is there in that process. Quite interesting.
Well, that's right. That's interesting that he didn't trust him. You're saying that
each of them. David later said when Jonathan died with his father, he said, "Naamtali, I love you more than I love the woman, more than I knew a woman." Yeah. This is a love of somebody who should be sacrificed to each other. Yet Jonathan dragged God into that equation and said, hey, I'm really not trusting you 100%. Just in case that you want to change your mind, God is my witness that we have signed this contract, you and me, and I'm securing the future of my children and whatever through that contract. Interesting.
This 929 site. This is studying Tanakh, international thing. They think of a chapter a day, and they has.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
There was a few. They have then some articles about each. Just only 2 mentions of Rosh Chodesh in the entire Torah, so we learn non-sanctuary based observances of the new moon here. Special festive meal. Yeah, David wisely stays away. Oh, he not pure, which suggests that you need to be in ritual purity to attend these meals.
I think it's also, Mark, these meals are not just for Avner, Jonathan, Shaul, and maybe David. It is a big meal for the top echelon of the army and protectors and stuff. And Jonathan quite upset that his father embarrassing him in front of all the officers and other. It's like the round table of the 12 whatever. And the idea is that they. It suggests because Jonathan got upset, not because Avner, his head of army, was there, rather than a lot of people were there, and he been embarrassed in front of all of them.
Well, not only he'd been embarrassed, he was nearly killed.
Yes, he threw a spear at him too. That's right.
Yeah.
But
The same spear that David used, that Shaul used constantly to try to hurt people.
But he seems to miss all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
You think he intentionally missed, or like just
That doesn't no, the author doesn't imply that he's intentionally missing. He just does miss.
I mean, you can understand. Well, I mean, with against Jonathan, it could have been just to scare him or to show his anger. He probably didn't really want to kill him, although on a previous occasion he had wanted to kill him.
I think it's a tool for the narrator to show how Shaul feel at the moment. It is a part of, and not necessarily anger management, but to show the level of anger that Shaul, and that's one tool to use to show that he was very upset, and the next thing he holds, it's like I threw a cup on somebody at the time. This is the tool that the narrator used to explain the level of unhappiness of Shaul.
It's interesting how he says, you're the son of a rebellious woman. He takes no responsibility for being Jonathan's parent. It's always her fault.
Yeah.
It's not mine.
Well, but he have few women, so a few wives. So it's one of he's the first choice, and but it's beautiful in Hebrew. It's beautiful. Ben Na'avat Hamardut. It is such a beautiful sentence. But
you don't call your wife that, hopefully.
Yes. I mean, it's
no.
Have a word to Diane, don't worry.
I mean, it's a good swear word to use or something.
Yeah. Is that used in modern Hebrew?
No, he used mainly in people with the scholar at the level of the biblical thing. So you may say to somebody that really you don't use that. It's an old fashioned. You need to know the content of it. It's very and people would not understand that unless they know where it's come from. It doesn't say that you ben na'avat hamardut. Mered, it's a rebellion. Na'avat doesn't mean anything. So
your generation in Israel all would have learnt all this Tanakh, obviously.
Yes.
Right. So you all know what it means. But
then I know. Yeah. Well, we will not use that as a thing. We will use. My generation used the Gashashim as a reference, and I know you don't know who's the Gashashim, but it is a comedian group in the 70s and 80s that rebuild the language around them. And if you want to know, you go and search Hagashash HaChiver, and you can understand the language in different ways. But you're right, this is an old-fashioned language that only at certain level will be used.
Okay.
do Israelis use Arabic swear words? I mean, you know.
Yeah, it's all intermingled. You know, the word friar in Hebrew, which you think it is Arabic, it's actually German word, which we adopt to say if the friar is somebody we're not going to how to say that in English. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to be the one who paid more tax than you. I would not put the mask more than you. I'll do this kind of stuff. So, and it's all integrated. But we're using a lot of Arabic. But Arabic is a Hebrew. It's a Semitic language. I know the two languages not as good as I wish to, but there is a lot of similar word across between the two. I mean, Semitic word is something been developed over the last 3,000 years and or more.
What I understand is that when Ben Yehuda was developing modern Hebrew, he would look from words from related languages. Is that right? Like Aramaic, Arabic, and all that.
Oh yeah, I think
I'll give you an example. In Arabic, you say ta'alalhun. Ta'alalhun, in Hebrew, ta'alehena. Allahu Akbar, who El Kabir, who God is great, just in Hebrew.
Yeah.
Stuff that's very, very similar. If you really break them into the shoresh, into the root system, you can see that they're actually very similar in the languages. Really very, very, yeah. So there you go.
Here we are. No wonder that Jonathan was haunted by the possibility of both his own death and his descendants' extirpation at the hands of David, and made him swear. So. Oh, that's right. Okay. David's reputation required its basic violation to be shrouded. See where this author came from. Because there's always a reason given why he killed people. Okay, I suppose giving them over to the Givonim is a justification for doing it, rather than doing it because he wanted to wipe out remnants of Shaul's family.
But as I said last week, and as I said, I was wrong. I thought it's Michal, it's Merav children.
Yeah.
But it's also suggesting very much on David is sort of continue to play the game of I do everything. I mean, he went on wars. He escaping from Shaul. He went and worked in the kingdom of around Beersheba, and looking after the border on behalf of enemies of Shaul. But he also was very clever when he attacked the people who attacked the little Jewish tribe and took all the animals back. He gave some back to the small towns, the Jews, using that language, creating loyalty to him. He was a master politician. He knew how to think ahead of time. He built up a stone over stone the future for his kingdom. But he also was a master. By the time he became a king, not as opposed to Shaul. Shaul didn't want to be a king. He'd been forced by Shmuel. David is sort of slowly built up all the infrastructure, understood exactly what's going to happen in a month, 2 months. He built up the group around him. He built up the loyalty of the different tribes, support each of them by fighting their wars against the enemies as a emissary, as just a guy who have a lot of people who work under his command. But whenever they stole food from the Amalekite or whatever it is, he used to take that and share that amount his soldiers, but also return some to the tribes and the villages
He knew how to
And-
do, yeah.
And that's how you build up from the ground up. That's exactly what Hamas did in Gaza. Spend years and years becoming social supporter to the poor, and slowly building up the idea of the support, grassroots support, and gave him the numbers later to bring all the kingdom of Israel under his roof. Something he did beautifully, but his son Shlomo totally destroyed. All the land that David managed to conquer, Shaul lost in his luxury, his life. But then that's another shiur.
You know, this comment about David obeys the letter, but not the spirit of his, you know, of his forces. There was, when David was dying, he was telling Shlomo what to do with someone he promised he wouldn't harm.
Yes.
But you're a white man, you can do it.
Right, yeah, you know what to do, right. We don't kill him directly, or that was Shimei, wasn't it? Shimei, yeah.
I don't know, forgotten now.
Well, he made him one of the leftover of Shaul kingdom who asked to sleep with what's her name? Shunamit. One of this.
I know that.
Abishag.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
Adoniah. That was
Yeah.
Shlomo. Well, I think it was Bathsheba. Bathsheba put him up to it, knowing that he'd be killed by Shlomo. That was quite ingenious.
Cure that. It's a great manipulation. The whole thing is like a beautifully written.
So you had to. With just like in any monarchies, if you don't kill them, they'll kill you, because it's too much at stake. I suppose that's the inherent flaws in the monarchy.
Yes, that's
even the time to take the kingdom. I mean, later on you have a Shlomo. His mother come with this beautiful elaborate story to convince David with the Nathan, the prophet, to explain that yes, you can actually promise that in the past. Maybe you don't remember, you're a bit old and stuff. But yes, here is the signature, blah blah blah. And later on, if you read that, it's beautifully. You have the different houses coming across, different children from different mothers try to secure the kingdom for themselves, and it's just amazing. Shakespeare couldn't write it any better.
Yeah.
Well, that was a lovely. I spoke a lot today. Thank you for everybody.
All right.
Okay, thank
you. Yeah, there's I've got here from the commentary in the Hertz, and this is about when Saul and Jonathan died for their people. David lamented them in the most beautiful elegy in literature. Do you want to hear it, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thy glory, O Israel, is slain upon thy high places. How are the mighty fallen? Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions. Ye daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet delicately, who put ornaments of gold upon your apparel. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? O Jonathan, slain upon thy high places. I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of woman. How are the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished?
Wow.
It's also beautiful in Hebrew.
Beautiful.
Yeah, well.
Well, but it came from the Hebrew, but it's beautifully written.
To say that after they died.
Yeah.
And so
when a rival, when a rival leader dies, everyone comes to the funerals and give these fantastic eulogies.
They hated him. Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to say something.
Yeah.
This writing that you just read now used quite a lot in Israel when a soldier die. And it starts Ech naflu giborim, b'motam. All exactly, they say that they use that as a part of a eulogy for a soldier when they die.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's a bit like Trump with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. He was probably very glad she died, but then he says, "Oh, this is a wonderful woman."
Wonderful woman.
So that David was a very master politician, really knew the media. He knew how to use the media, how to use the system to surround himself with the people who adore him and love him.
Mm.
There
Yeah.
you go. All right,
Okay.
people.
Thank
Have a
you so
beautiful
much,
week.
everyone.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Enjoyed
Have a
it.
good week, everyone.
Have a good
Goodbye.
week, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
All right. See you next week.
See you next week. Yeah.
Yeah.